I posted a family photo and lost my job. It was my daughter's 5th birthday, and we took pictures at the park near our house. Nothing special or unusual. Just my wife, my daughter blowing out her candles on a pink cake, and my mother-in-law, who drove 4 hours specifically to celebrate with us. I posted one single photo to my private Instagram account with maybe 200 followers, mostly family and old college friends. The next morning, my supervisor called me into her office unexpectedly. She closed the door behind me, and her face looked strange and serious. She asked if I'd posted anything online recently. I told her about the birthday photo from the weekend. She nodded very slowly and said human resources needed to speak with me immediately about an urgent matter. I walked into the HR conference room and found 3 people already waiting there. They had my Instagram photo printed out in color and sitting in the center of the table. The head of HR pointed directly at my mother-in-law standing in the background of the picture. She asked who that woman was. I explained she was simply my wife's mother visiting from out of state for the birthday party. The room went completely silent, and everyone exchanged glances. One of them pulled out another photograph. It was an official mugshot of a woman who looked exactly like my mother-in-law. Same face, same distinctive birthmark on her left cheek, same slightly crooked smile. But the name printed under the mugshot was completely different from the name I knew. The HR director explained that this woman was wanted by federal authorities for embezzling $400,000 from a nonprofit organization that helped homeless veterans find housing. She disappeared without a trace 3 years ago, and the FBI had been actively searching for her ever since. I started laughing nervously because this absolutely had to be some kind of joke or misunderstanding. My mother-in-law was a retired kindergarten teacher who baked chocolate chip cookies and grew tomatoes in her backyard garden. She'd never stolen anything in her entire life. They asked for her current phone number. I gave it to them, still completely convinced this was somehow insane. They dialed it right there in the office on speakerphone while everyone listened. She answered cheerfully on the 3rd ring. The HR director identified herself formally and asked if she was speaking with the woman pictured in my Instagram photo from the birthday party. There was a very long pause on the line. Then my mother-in-law said something I'll never forget for the rest of my life. She said, "I always knew this call was coming eventually. I've been waiting for it." I felt the floor drop out completely from under me in that moment. My wife's mother, the woman who held my daughter the day she was born, who taught her how to ride a bicycle, who showed up to every single holiday with homemade apple pie, was actually a wanted fugitive. She'd been hiding in plain sight for years, right in front of everyone. The call ended abruptly, and HR asked me to wait outside in the hallway. I sat in that cold hallway for nearly 3 hours. When they finally called me back into the room, they said I was being terminated immediately, effective today. Not because I'd done anything wrong personally, but because my social media presence had now attracted federal law enforcement attention directly to the company. Their lawyers strongly recommended a clean and immediate separation from me. I drove home in a complete daze, not knowing what to think. My wife was already sitting at the kitchen table with her phone clutched in her hands. Her face was streaked with tears and mascara. She already knew everything. The FBI had called her directly that morning. Her mother had confessed everything over the phone, crying. The name we knew her by wasn't even real. She created an entirely new identity after fleeing her home state. She remarried my wife's father under that fake name. My wife had grown up her whole life calling a total stranger Mom. They arrested her the next day at a coffee shop 2 towns over. She didn't resist. She told the agent she was just tired of running. At the trial, we learned she'd originally stolen the money to pay for her first husband's cancer treatment. He died anyway. She panicked and ran. She built an entirely new life because she couldn't face the old one. My wife visits her in prison once a month now. I still haven't found another job. Every interview ends the same way when they search my name and find the articles. My daughter sometimes asks why Grandma lives in a building with tall fences. We tell her Grandma made a very big mistake and is learning from it. Sometimes, late at night, I look at that birthday photo and wonder how different everything would be if I'd simply kept it to myself.